much, but he was talking about there's a certain breed of men who all they want to do is work like 80-hour weeks. And he was just like, it's not even about the money at some point. It's just about like being in business and working themselves to death. He was just like, it doesn't matter if they have $1 billion or $100 billion. There's just like a certain group of men that no matter what they do, they want to be working and trying to outbeat their competition. And even if it's like $500 million or $1 billion, it's like even if they just make $1 more than the guy next to them, they feel better just because like it's competition based, right?
I think it's once you get in the grind, because like I mean, you have that problem to an extent. Do you know anybody that's hardcore like that? Like Grant Cardone seems like a guy that's pretty hardcore, but his family seems to get along. I think Kevin O'Leary was saying that he almost lost his wife over that dilemma.
I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm single, right? It's not because I'm putting in so many hours. It's more along the lines of I'm not who I am when I'm single, I guess you could say. So I almost changed completely who I am. And not that that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I like business. Business is like my sport, I feel like. This is after a couple relationships, learning a little bit, maturing a little bit since college. But I need someone now that is in that sort of vision. So in that respect, it's like I'm perfectly fine being single, knowing that business is my sport. I've had relationships, it's like so I know what I'm missing, and I don't really miss it. I don't get lonely, and so yeah, I mean, maybe that's just a different mindset. Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever quit working, right? So, I mean, yeah, I talk about financial independence, and, how I'm over a quarter of the way there with respect to what I need in terms of retiring in the U.S. I mean, there's also times when I've thought about going outside and living in Asia where it's much cheaper for me to live, and in some Asian countries I could live very happily and very luxuriously with the income that I'm making at the moment from passive dividends and YouTube and things like that. But my question to you is, say you do get to the point where you're making $40,000, $50,000 Canadian a year passively, are you going to continue to work, or do you think you'll turn into a couch potato?
Every morning I wake up, I'm always conflicted with like, what can I accomplish in the short amount of time that I have? And it always reminds me of what my mom said too. My mom said I'll be somebody that'll never have to worry about work. She told me that when I was like 16 years old, and I didn't fully grasp what she meant by that, but it's just because my brain doesn't stop going. I think an idle mind becomes easily depressed, especially in somebody like myself, because I'm sure you've gotten to know me a little better. I can be a little like rampant sometimes. So I have a hard time sitting still as it is. There's no way I'll be retiring whatsoever. It'll just be whatever's next. Now, what comes next might be something a little withdrawn from maybe the stock portfolio, and like me and you are saying, maybe doing the online business thing, or I don't know what's going to come in the next 5-10 years. Who knows? Maybe I start focusing more on the show aspect and go back into the magic heavy. But goal number one is to see how fast, obviously, you can get to the point where your passive income takes over. I mean, it's a fun journey, and it's a tough game, man. It's a game most people can't handle playing, because you can lose. Like, there can be substantial setbacks, and people do experience them. I'm sure you've met this is a good segue conversation, actually, because a lot of my friends are much older than I am, and I'm glad that I can learn from them. But they're in situations where they won't be. There's a good chance they'll never be financially free, because of just burdens that have happened to them early in life. Maybe having a kid too early, going through a divorce. I know people that are getting divorced right now that are losing half of their assets. So, I mean, it's nice to be able to learn from that and try not to make those mistakes, but it is not an easy game, man.
My perspective, I have two visions of success. I have success in mind for myself, and then I have success in mind for my family and friends. And so the way I view success with my family and friends is, are they happy, and are they getting their needs met, or are they really wanting for anything? So I have family members that think that the stock market is bogus. They don't really want to learn. They don't really want to hear me talk about it. And that's fine, because at the end of the day, I know they're happy. And so for me, I view that as success. I'm talking mostly about my brothers and sisters and my parents. So in that respect, and a lot of my friends as well, like, for them, they don't really care, and they're not really wanting for anything. And so they're kind of just living their 9-to-5 jobs, and they're coming home, and they're not like, oh, I wish I was retired or anything like that. They're not really disgruntled or upset. So I view that as success for a lot of my friends and family, that they're doing well. And if I was just doing that for myself, though, I would view myself as a complete failure. just because I know what my potential is, right? And I know what I want out of life, which is ever expanding, but at the same time, it's like I need to keep my mind busy, whether that's watching YouTube videos about finance or something like that. And for me, keeping my mind busy is mostly doing financial work and challenging myself. And that so far has been the stock market, and now it's obviously starting to dabble in online businesses and a little bit with YouTube as well. So it continues to build on itself, right?